Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohort, Uncle Joe McLaughlin. Well, Uncle Joe, it's just you and I today, as we've done many shows in the past. We've done we used to do the
It's like Section 30 in September. You have the place to yourself.
Yeah, we used to do the Coolidge Corner Clubhouse. Remember, we used to do that by ourselves.
Hamilton's.
The professor and JP's first son, Timmy Hoey, out tonight. They have bigger and better things to do, apparently, than do our show.
Timmy's being inducted into the Hall of Fame of maintenance supplies or something. It's a big fancy dinner at the Copley Plaza.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, we wish them both well, and we do miss them. But sports must go on, as does life, Joe. We start with the New England Patriots. As I've said many times, Joe, we have to go back before we go forward. What a frustrating Thanksgiving Day game. And that seems like a year ago. A game the Patriots should have won, like we felt like that Ravens game, and even kind of
the Miami game.
The Miami game too.
You open them.
Just we start with the coaching. When we talk about other teams for the last 20 years making stupid penalties, constantly doing certain things with time management. Patriots did all those things, all those little things wrong on Thursday, and that caught up to them.
Yeah, it's a young team. Over half the team is first and second year guys.
Yeah,
you're gonna have that. I kind of compare it to that. Go back to 2000, the 5-11 team. Belichick was very frustrated, like he probably is now, and he brought in a lot of old veterans from his old team, the Giants, like Roman Pfeiffer and them, to kind of show them.
Yeah, that's a great comparison.
How to do it right.
Yeah, Joe, I haven't heard that at all this week, and you're right, Joe. They are a young team, and a guy like Pierre Strong, potentially a contributor in the running game moving forward, makes that terrible mistake by roughing the punter.
Yeah, the game hinged on that and the referee's mistake with Hunter Henry there.
Yeah, but I'm so sick. If they're gonna call penalties for roughing the punter, then they should call flopping by the punters too. That's getting to be ridiculous. The guy acts like he gets hit every time.
Yeah, even when no one's near them, they're trying to draw. It's just like soccer out there.
That should be a 5-yard penalty. It should be a 15-yard penalty either.
Yeah, there are penalties in basketball and hockey now because it got so bad in those sports.
Yeah.
Like Marcus has been given assessed technicals numerous times for.
But look, the Henry call was egregious because they called the touchdown on the field, and you had.
But then Dungy demanded they retract it.
Yeah,
that's what happened. And,
so the referee
TV rules.
The referee comes back. They come back from unlimited commercials, and he's still under the hood, which starts to say there's monkey business going on over in New York.
Yep.
They're not
the TV called it said, "Oh no catch. TV was swearing up. Dungy was swearing up and down, no catch. The ball moved. Doesn't matter if the ball moved if it's still in your hands.
And it never hit the ground.
Yeah,
it never hit the ground. It was a touchdown. But again, it was a call that was made on the field, and it had to be a clear.
TV overruled the referees on the field. The commentators overruled the referees. Is what happened.
Yeah, and that's a 4-point swing right there. And
the game's totally different. Now the Patriots are ahead. Then you don't have the rough and the kicker penalty gave them the deciding score.
Yeah, it was just, and then
and then there was dozens of other little stupid things like at the end of the half, Hunter Henry, not get now Mac. What are you doing? Don't you understand that the clock is running? You want it to stop.
Yeah, and then Duger getting held on the kickoff return, and again, that's just bad coaching. But also he got clearly held as a runner.
But there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah,
That's the referees missing the call. That's all.
missing the call. Yeah.
You can't review that. That's not reviewable.
No, it should be though. There should
Well,
be
yeah,
one.
Belichick has lobbied for that over the years, that everything should be reviewable. You still have the same number of reviews, same number of Red Sox to throw, but you can review anything.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to, I'm not going to sit there for 10 hours, Joe, and watch the game.
Yeah, no, you'd only have the same number of review calls.
No,
It's
I
just
would
that you
say,
could review anything. Anything that you wanted to. If you wanted to say, well, I think there was, holding on it, instead of was it in or out of bounds. It's your option, but you still only get 3,
and also you should be able to keep all your reviews, the opportunity to review if you're correct.
Yes.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Why, just because the referee makes a bad call and you call him on it, why does that cost you?
Yeah, that's what I don't like in basketball.
Yeah,
but
that's stupid.
But they don't want, then someone, if they're right, they could keep doing it and doing it and doing it, maybe really hold up the game 4 or 5 times and a half,
At
so
least
I
do
can
it
see
one,
their
at least
point.
one. Yeah, basketball, at least do it one
but
time.
yeah, they should give you at least one back.
Right. I mean, no, but I understand, because look, the referees in basketball, oh, they love that airtime, Joe. Oh my God, they love that.
They certainly do.
Yeah, and that one.
But the same with the referees in football. They ham it up for the cameras.
Oh my God, that's for sure. Yeah, they're human beings. They want, they want all their friends and family to see them. There's no question. Absolutely. Well, look.
It is a better team, though. They have been much more competitive. Those 3 games we mentioned, Minnesota, they could have won. Baltimore, they could have won. In Miami, they could have won with a little more level-headedness on the field, from a more veteran presence,
Yeah, they got wiped out against the Bears, and look, they should have beat the Packers. I mean, that was where the Zappy almost came in and beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this team is not as far away as we think. There aren't great teams in the NFL right now. Maybe you could argue the Chiefs, but that's still yet to be seen. But the big test is on Thursday, Joe, tomorrow night against Buffalo. Do we even have a shot?
Oh, I think we do, but I don't think they punted almost since you go back to
2 games. Not just one game.
2 games.
Last 2 games.
You've got to go back to that wind game where what did they throw the ball 3 times in the entire game?
Yeah, Joe.
You have to go back to the last punt by Buffalo.
How can we even think that they have any shot tomorrow after we saw that playoff game?
Well, I don't know. I'm a little more encouraged by the defense this year. They seem to be getting it a little more. Particularly the defensive backs have played better this year, even without J.C. Jackson and Gilmore. They look better to me. Of course, we haven't faced it as the class of the quarterbacks, really this year. We've been facing pretty much, the lower tier of quarterbacks. But let's see. Maybe we have a chance. The Jones boys back there, maybe they can do some damage.
Hey, look, I said on the show last week, Joe, I said that I thought Jalen Mills has had a good season. I thought he played pretty well last year. I mean, I didn't think he was tremendous, but he definitely wasn't a bust, being that.
No.
I thought he's played well this year, but apparently, like, I'm one of the only ones.
No, I think he's been more than adequate. When you look around the league, he's for some reason the Patriots have a better defensive back scheme than most teams in the league, don't you think?
Oh well, you started in the first Super Bowl in 2002. We had the guys like Otis Smith, just off the scrap heap and playing well. Yeah, this system.
What was his name? Randall Gay. Remember they got him.
Yeah, all those guys. Well, of course, the most famous one, the free agent Malcolm Butler off the street.
Yeah.
But and that's why that system works so well. That's why you can draft guys. Not take guys off the couch, put them in the system, and it seems to work.
Yeah, whatever they do well. Whatever Belichick's son or daughter is in charge back there, they've been doing
Yeah,
a
right.
good job. I got to give them a good, pat on the back there. The defensive backs have been stalwart over the last couple of years.
And good tackling, Joe, this year. Really good tackling. They may have, not a lot of missed tackles there.
Well, and Phillips is really good at it, and the linebackers have been doing very well too. They're not that Mac Wilson. I don't like him. He's one of those guys who likes to tackle with his shoulder by hitting you. No, you wrap up and tackle him.
Oh, it's funny. We must be on the same wavelength, Joe, seeing that we've done this show for 9 years. I was going to talk about Mac Wilson in the sense that I thought Wilson did a good job on Zach Wilson 2 weeks ago, shadowing him.
Yes, he did. I agree with you.
And I think you're going to see, I think that he might be one of the keys to victory, if that's even possible, by shadowing Allen. We didn't have a guy like that quick last year to do that.
And he matches up in size with Allen, because Allen's a big kid.
He sure is.
For a quarterback, he's huge. He's Cam Newton size,
But he's so, Joe, each week, that guy, he doesn't know how to slide. He'll take the big hit to make an extra yard, and that is not longevity.
Yeah, a lot of times he'll even get caught in between whether he should slide or go for the extra yard, and then he gets tackled it really awkwardly. That's usually where you get hurt. And
they all get paid to crush quarterbacks. They like doing that. Yeah, from the backside too.
It goes right in the highlight film. Send it right to the agent. The agent's got that on speed dial. They're sending that to the management as soon as it happens.
Okay, not that I need the New England Patriots fans to be convinced of something. I know management is convinced of it, but Matt Jones, if all you had to do is watch that performance on Thanksgiving and realize that he's the starting quarterback of the Patriots for the next few years.
Oh yeah, and he's going back to the game before the Thanksgiving game. You can see he's finally listening to the coaches, and he's not listening to his fanboy apologists anymore and whining about everything. He's starting to play the right way.
He's one of the most.
This is what he was doing last year, and he got away. He thought he was Aaron Rodgers, and he could do whatever he damn pleased. And
look, he makes
all because of it.
Joe, would you agree that he makes all the easy throws and he makes a lot of difficult ones?
I haven't seen him make a difficult throw.
Oh, a couple of one. You see that on tape. One pass, I forget who it was to, maybe Myers. He threw it. It was Brady, like the way he dropped it over linebackers, and that was about 20 yards steep.
Yeah, but he doesn't make the longer throws. That's just not his forte.
Well, I would argue
maybe in time he will develop that. But you either have an arm or you don't, and he doesn't seem to have the big arm.
Oh, well,
he doesn't have the gun.
Who's he throwing deep to?
When he throws deep, he just throws a rainbow up there, and it's the receiver's job to run under it. He doesn't throw it to. He doesn't throw it to the receiver. You know what I mean? There's a big difference.
Well,
where guys with an arm throw it to the receiver. Mac and most quarterbacks throw it up there, and the receiver runs to it. Even Tom Brady used to do that at first.
So that's what I was saying. I would suggest that Tom Brady never threw a good long ball. He used to do that even with Moss.
He had some. Geez, I can still remember the record breaker there against the Giants in the last game. What a gorgeous pass! Remember, it broke the record for touchdown passes.
Well, I know, but that was a long time in his career, Joe. I mean, that was
quite a bit into
7 years into his career.
Yeah. But that was, I can still remember that thing of beauty.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, yeah. But look, I think the strength in the arm, would you agree? I believe it has improved from last year and can improve with more weight training.
He's got, it's, I don't know, his arm might be fine. he just doesn't do the mechanics,
No, he
step
needs
into
to.
the throw like a pitcher does, like
Yeah,
Tom Brady does, like Peyton Manning did, like the good quarterbacks do. They step into it. They step up in the pocket and fire it with a nice windup, off their
he
back foot.
doesn't dig in either.
Yeah,
He's very light on his feet when he throws.
yeah, and that's why he doesn't get a lot behind it.
Yeah,
And once he improves his mechanics, he should spend a little more time with Tom House
yeah.
and a little less time, with the commercials, so.
I think that that's probably partly because these guys play in artificial turf now. When you played in grass and dirt, you had to dig in, to get footing. Now these guys, the footing is there for them, so they don't. It's not as hard to get set up. And you're right. He's got to drive the ball in.
You saw Bailey Zappi doing it on the regular,
Right.
stepping up, beautiful mechanics, stepping right
Yeah.
into the throw, throwing like he's throwing off a mound,
Yeah.
and really putting some zip on it. And that's what Max got to start doing. He's very tentative. He doesn't like to step up into the pocket.
No.
I don't think he's a quarterback. All his college career, he was a shotgun quarterback. He never took it under center. So he's not he's not used to being able to step up, You're more an RPO
coming
guy.
at him at all times. And then with a
He retreats way too much. He retreats instead of stepping up and into his throws. And that will come with time. It improved the last 2 weeks. It shows you he's listening to the coaches now, and he's not listening to his fanboys anymore.
No, right. No, yeah. Look, it was going to be a transition anyways. I think we had such high expectations for a 15th pick in the draft.
And then, geez, the way Belichick ballyhooed him at the, in training camp, how he'd made huge strides from the first year to the second year. And then, geez, we got a pig in a poke when it came to that, He went backwards instead of everyone usually people take a huge jump in football they learn to be a pro. And he went backwards in a heartbeat.
You've known plenty of older people, especially older guys. Old guys, they either go one way or the other when they get old. They either get really soft or they get really hard. There's no in between. And Belichick is a hard ass, but it's pretty clear at the age of 70, he's softening up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Much more complimentary of these players than I've ever heard.
Well, he's always threw bouquets at them. Always, everyone is the hardest worker on the team. First guy in, last guy out.
But don't you think he's gone a little over the top this year?
What's that?
You think he's been a little over the top this year?
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think of a specific example.
Stevenson. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Loves him. Loves him, he said. Loves him. Well, Stevenson made huge strides. When he came to, last year, he'd never blocked, in pass block, blitz pickup, any of that. He was ludicrous. You watched him, and he was just like a matador. Guys, blitzes were whiffing right by him and killing Mac. This year, he's a solid player. He learned and he improved. He's improved immensely.
No, absolutely. That's for sure. So, Joe, what do the Patriots have to do to win the game?
They need all three phases of the game got to score. I think the defense will have to come up with a score. Special teams will have to, maybe not score, but at least set up the offense to score. The special teams will have to do, set up, if they don't score, set up a score. And the offense is going to have to come through. And none of this, like that fourth quarter, that offense was awful. Mac and the offense was awful in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's for sure.
They just, I don't know if they ran out of gas or what, but they just stopped playing.
How about Thornton? He showed something the first couple of weeks, but he's been silent. I mean, is it more a referendum of what they're trying to do offensively and get other people involved, or maybe, all of a sudden he did get game action and he's not doing the right things?
I think it's a little of both. They do put an awful lot of emphasis on their wide receivers blocking and helping out on the running plays and things like that. And a little guy like him's not much help. And who can the best he can do is just fall down in front of someone and get in their way.
But I mean, this is a guy who a second round pick should be contributing.
Yeah, he played when Zappy was there, but Mac doesn't throw it down the field much, so there's not a lot of use for him,
And Parker, I mean,
that was his best game the other night by far.
No, he had another game where he played really well. But he's been, we gave up a third round pick. We're paying him kind of a bust.
Oh yeah. He's bad penalties, like he lines up wrong. Come on. How long have you been doing this?
Aguilar looked like a bad signing last year. Nobody could understand why they gave him that much money. And there were some really good wide receivers out there.
Yeah.
But they picked Aguilar. He's a complete bust.
Yeah, he hasn't turned out the way. Well, I hated that signing from the beginning. Never liked him. But they seem to have wanted them. They can move on next year. What do they got? They got like $100 million.
Yeah,
under the cap next year. 100. They're up to second now, I think.
But Joe, that was
$100 million. They just got to spend it more wisely than they did last time on Aguilar's and John Smiths and Hunter Henry's.
I want a stud linebacker. I want a stud. I mean, we got Judon.
You want the middle linebacker. You want that middle linebacker.
I think he.
Well, you got Juwan Bentley, and that's going to have to do. And Mac Wilson. Those are your middle linebackers.
Oh, for next year?
Bentley, for sure. He's a captain. He's there. He's the leader. He's one of the leaders on defense. He's a captain, for God's sakes, now.
Oh, for God's sake. And McMillan's been showing some.
He flashes in and out. You see where they extended
Tavai,
yeah. At a reasonable price, $4.4 million for 2 years.
I mean, that's basically a minimum salary.
Yeah, this guy was a second round pick just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they like him. I was.
Well, he's good on special teams. He plays a lot on special teams, so how that makes you a favorite son around the Foxborough.
Look, he's durable. Like Belichick said, he can play a lot of positions. They find a place for him. Look, $2.2 million is below average.
Yeah, it's chump change, with the current, Hey, Greg, get a lot of guys like that. And, they've always managed to win. I think they'll be all right. This is to borrow a phrase from the NBA. What they've been going through is a competitive rebuild. That's what they call it in the NBA, a competitive rebuild where you don't strip it down and spend 10 years in the lottery,
Well, you can say that, but you'd be saying something different if Mac Jones doesn't slide to 15 last year.
Yeah.
Because the key is, do you have a quarterback? And let's be honest, Joe, he doesn't have to even be top 10, but you have a quarterback that you could win a Super Bowl in.
That it's not going to turn the ball over on you, and that was Mac's problem at the beginning of the year. He thought he was Aaron Rodgers. He certainly wasn't. He was turning the ball over 3-4 times a game. You can't do it. Now, he's listening to the coaches, playing a little more conservative, completing 70% of his passes. They're all, they're bunnies, but 70% is 70%, gets you down the field.
Hey, so nobody knows the offensive line better than Uncle Joe. Cole Strange would give me a 11-game assessment.
I think he's done fine. Coaching staff has got some problems, but he only had his problems when Ferentz was at center. And a lot of times when a guy you don't know is playing next to you, you tend to cheat to that side to cover for him, and then you blow your own assignment.
Hey, Joe, is Andrews going to play tomorrow?
He's questionable. He's not sure. He says he wants to play, but they listed him as limited today. So
Okay, so he probably doesn't play.
they probably don't play him. But
So-
Yardney Kajust, Win is out for sure.
Yeah,
And Yardney Kajust was questionable too. So that's 2 tackles down.
so it's supposed to be really cold and windy tomorrow. What a fun night at the ballpark, Gillette Stadium.
Yeah, didn't we have a windy game last year? And remember that was the one
Oh,
Mac only threw 3 times, and
yeah, but that was in Buffalo.
Damian Harris had that long run. That was the only thing that happened all game.
That was in Buffalo, Joe. This isn't Gillette, I
Not
always,
quite as cold and not quite as windy. Okay, I understand, but
of course, we're a fan show, so I always think about the fans. Oh my God. How miserable would that be tomorrow night to be at that game?
yeah,
Especially in the 300 level?
it doesn't matter any level.
Well, no, you get down to the lower level, you can kind of get blocked a little bit.
Yeah.
You
And
go up to
especially it'll be better when they finish all the construction there and everything's closed in now,
Why did they, with all this construction, I asked this question, why didn't they just put a dome on it?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the engineers. Maybe you couldn't without it being like building a whole new place.
Oh, you think so?
That expense. They'd have to ask the engineers. They maybe, the structure they have now could not support a dome.
I'm shocked that Kraft, when he built that stadium, did not make it a dome stadium.
Hey, look, you only got so much money. If the dome's going to cost you an extra 300 or 400 million, remember back then he didn't have the, dough he has now.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't try to do it now.
Like I said, I think you'd have to build a whole new
Yeah.
stadium. I'm afraid.
Maybe not though. Well, you could do the Carrier Dome. Put a freaking remember?
Yeah.
But is the Carrier Dome still around?
No,
I
I
don't
think
even
that's
know.
gone. That's gone.
Yeah, remember that? So
Yeah.
people don't know that was just basically a big canvas, right?
Yeah, and it deflated. Remember?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, right. That's right. Exactly.
They had the snow got on it, and it just collapsed.
Right. That makes me I remember
The
driving.
security cameras caught the whole thing.
I remember driving. This shows how old I am. Driving, my father and I drove. We were in Connecticut for some reason. Driving home, we drove by the Hartford Civic Center, and then the next day, there's a bad snowstorm. Remember that collapsed? Can you imagine? That had been a full. The Celtics used to play a few times a year there.
Yep.
Imagine if that had collapsed when people had been in the stadium. It would have been.
There's been stadiums all over the world that have collapsed like that. Unfortunately, it's been when people aren't there. But didn't RFK Stadium or whatever it's called now, FedEx Field, didn't they have a collapse last year or the year before?
That's an open air stadium, so they wouldn't have had.
Yeah, but like the stadium, a tier of the stadium collapsed during a Redskins game, Commanders game, or whatever they call them, the Commodores, the Washington Football Club.
As a big Redskins fan growing up, and then of course I went to school in DC. It's the Redskins to me. I'm not interested in. It's fine. I like my Redskins. I like my John Riggins. I like my Hogs. I don't care. I'll live in the past. It's up to me. All right, Joe. So wait, did you get predictions from? We do. We have a
Yes,
prediction.
we do.
So let's start with
Very pessimistic, though. Very pessimistic.
Okay, Joe, you do Russ's and I'll do Timmy's.
Okay, well, I'd have to look that up.
Oh, you want me to? Oh, I'll get it for you. Okay.
You go, Tim.
Okay, Timmy has
28-10.
Buffalo winning 28-10. So
Okay, I got it.
Timmy's definitely not encouraged. And I guess clearly Timmy watched the playoff game. What was the final score of the playoff game? Like 42.
Oh, that was awful. That was awful when they didn't punt and they scored on every possession. What, 7 possessions, 7 scores?
Okay, so in the worst playoff games ever as far as non-competitive, in my recollection, non-competitive. It was the Houston Oilers game when Fairbanks had to come back in
Oh, yeah.
'78. It was the Ravens Patriots where
And that was a surprise and an upset when the Ravens jumped on them
jumped
right
on
off the bat.
first play
13 to
for
nothing.
scrimmage, right?
Yeah.
Rice, the kid Rice, ran it all the way, and we were done.
Then the
And
next play was strip sack of Brady.
Right. And then the Buffalo game. What was the worst out of those three? What would you consider the worst beating? Would it have been last year?
Oh yeah, that was the worst, the most, pathetic performance. The worst was the Ravens one because the Patriots were heavily favored in that game.
No, but I would say maybe even the worst one that would Max and I were at, the Jets. With Buddy
Oh,
Ryan.
after they beat the Jets 45-3 2 weeks before.
That was bad.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to coast to a Super Bowl that year. And that was Tommy pouting.
Yeah.
That was a weird game.
He didn't like that Revis guy out there. So he made Belichick sign Revis next year for the Patriots, remember?
That game and the last game Tommy Boy ever played for the Patriots against Tennessee. Those two playoff games, if it would almost build on some guy I know, Uncle Joe, his theory that Tommy Boy maybe doesn't play as hard as he might for other certain times.
Well, for other reasons too.
But right,
lots of different reasons.
Would you agree those two games he didn't exactly give his all in those playoff games?
There's many occasions it's been like that. For the 2007 Super Bowl.
Yeah, no.
Second half, he was pouting and was just firing it down the field, somewhere in the vicinity of Randy Moss. No one knew what the hell he was doing, and he didn't care.
And don't tell me that's the reason Tom Brady is so good. No, he's just a powder. I mean,
he's a human being like everyone else. Yes, he's got good days, bad days, and indifferent ones. Usually he's super competitive, and we're all front runners, and he certainly is.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And then obviously he didn't get along with all his coaching staff. How could 20 years? There was going to be some disagreements. But all right. So Joseph, give me your prediction.
Oh, well, first I'm going to give the voice of reason, the professor. And he says it's not going to be a fun night for the Pats. And they would lose 24-13 to Buffalo. Okay. And I kind of think along the same lines, but I'm going to say that it's going to be a close game. I'm going to say 24-21, and I'm not calling who's winning.
What?
I'm just going to say, okay, I'll say the Patriots, 24-21.
Wow.
And, just like you said, windy, it's cold. Buffalo's secondary have all got some mystery illness. All the cornerbacks and safeties have been sick all week since Thanksgiving.
I wonder what illness that could be. If you've heard, I haven't heard. Have any NFL players got COVID the whole season? Did they even?
Not that they've said. Not that they've said.
Guys, are they making? No, seriously, and I asked this question: do they make them sit out now or no?
I don't think they do. I don't think they ask. They don't ask the question anymore. Simple as that. But almost every defensive back hasn't been practicing for Buffalo.
Yeah, because they have COVID.
So if that should make for a nice afternoon, for Mac Jones. So you got a bunch of guys that are winded that you can run ragged, and sooner or later, then you unleash. Of course, the wind might stop you from doing that, but
all right. So you have the Patriots winning. Timmy and Russ have them losing. I have the Patriots winning only because they lose tomorrow night. Would you agree the season's over?
Oh yeah. As far as any kind of playoff opportunities, yes.
Yes. and then we're just playing.
That's why they should have won the Minnesota game. Then they could have had this as a scheduled loss,
Yeah. Well, they got to win. Look, if you want to get
Now they got to
far,
win.
you got to beat good teams, and you got to beat teams.
And you got to beat the teams in your division.
Yeah.
They've beaten the Jets twice. Now they owe Miami are beaten. And now they got 2 games with Buffalo, so they got to win at least one of them.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope it's an entertaining game. Though they lost, that was a really good game. That was the most entertaining game of the season. Would you agree?
Yeah, it was frustrating with all the mental errors, which again, another reason why you had all that going on. These Thursday games are always like that. They're just full of mental errors, because you don't have the preparation you should have.
But Joe, Jonathan Jones, not a young player. He made 2 of those personal
face
foul
mask.
calls.
Yeah.
You got to do better than that.
Yeah.
Let me just, you can't do that stuff. They're not good enough to make up for those stupid errors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The errors were, I mean, you could go down the list. There were so many errors. Yeah. In that game by the Patriots, silly penalties and whatnot, just mental errors like in the time management at the end of the first half there. Just, not playing well in that fourth quarter. There's a lot of things.
All right. So Joe, we go to the Boston Celtics. Look, it's tough for talk shows when your team's the best team in a sport. It's kind of tough to talk about them because you don't have these shows. You don't dial these shows up to say wonderful things about everybody. But they're really the performances you're getting up and down the roster. We have to talk about the stars, and the main star, Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
He went into this season saying, "I am the favorite to be MVP of this league. Prove to me that I'm not." And he's proved to right now at the quarter pole that he is.
Yeah. You love it that the offense is incredible, putting up 130, 140 points a night. Now I'm starting to wonder when Rob comes back, that's going to affect this nice spacing we have.
That's exactly what I asked. Remember, I texted that to you guys.
Oh, I must have missed it.
Does he slow down? What does he slow down?
He'll affect the spacing for sure, because you can't he's no threat out on the perimeter. No threat whatsoever. No one's even going to bother covering him,
So this team is built for Al Horford.
Yes,
Rob Williams to be,
and they're built to run in transition. Marcus Smart's game, defense and transition. It'll be they'll have plenty of time to transition because he's going to be back before the halfway point. So they're going to have 2/3 of the season with him.
Well, I assume
and I think they're better. They're a better fit for the playoffs with Rob. Don't you think? You get into those half-court games, a guy like him, rim protector, if a guy slips by your man, there's the guy right there to knock it down.
Well, I think we've seen that, and that's why guys like Evan Fournier get paid big bucks when they don't deserve it, because the difference between the regular season and the playoffs is the 3-pointers are contested in the playoffs, and the regular season they're not.
Yeah, not always. Remember the Bucks made the mistake of not bothering to guard Grant Williams.
Well, yeah, they was kind of
an NBA player is going to hit. It's a free throw. If you're going to give it to him like that, it's a free throw,
especially in the corner.
Yeah, you let him bend his knee and check it out, and then toss it up. They're going to hit 50% or more.
So, but Jason Tatum has done exactly what you want.
He's been spectacular.
But he's gotten better every year.
Yeah, and I would say every one of the starters, other than Al's Al, and he's not cheating you, but the other 4 guys have all improved their game.
Well, Al knows how to pay. He's
He can't teach an old dog new tricks. He's
not going to give you in November? What do you think?
Yeah.
He's going to give you the
Yeah.
big effort?
But he's not cheating you either. He's not cheating you anytime. He gives you good honest day's work out there. But all the other starters, Brown has improved. D. White's improved immeasurably. Marcus has improved. His ball handling and his passing is much improved over last year.
Okay, I'm going to ask a crazy question. I know you're going to. It's just a question, no judging. If the Celtics win a championship this year, is Al Horford possibly get his number retired?
No, he wasn't that good. He wasn't, and he wasn't
Better
that
than Paul
important.
Silas.
No. Now you're talking one of my favorites all the time.
Okay, but he's better than Paul Silas. Just look it up. He's better than Don Nelson.
It's a different game. Silas played in a rough and tumble game.
I know.
He was rough and ready.
I loved Silas too, but Joe, come on. Talent-wise, Al Horford's a better player than
Oh, yeah. Well, he's a better shooter, not a better rebounder, not a better defender.
No, but I'm just saying, you never know. It's not a crazy question. He's been
No, it's not.
He's been an incredible.
But I think they've cheapened it. I love KG, but I wouldn't have let him in.
Well, no, I would have let KG in.
I wouldn't. He wasn't a Celtic.
But he changed the franchise, Joe.
He wasn't a Celtic though.
He changed the franchise.
And it was only one banner, and he spent 3/4 of his career in another uniform. So Joe, I'd say no.
He was the most entertaining Celtic I've ever seen. He's maybe the most entertaining athlete for me to root for on a daily basis. Entertaining.
And like I loved Cedric Maxwell, but no, I'm sorry, no. Well,
Max won 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was a fine role player.
Yeah. Well, no, he started.
Yeah, he started, but he played a role. He wasn't a star. He played a role.
Look, so yes. Look, come on. Of course, Paul Silas, Don Nelson, they should never have had their numbers retired. That's ridiculous.
Obviously, Nelly he's in the Hall of Fame in 3 different ways, I think now.
Yeah, look, Dennis Johnson's one of my favorite players of all time, so I was more than happy to see his number retired. Yeah. But
Larry Bird said he was the best player he ever played with.
I love Dennis DJ. I was so sad this day that he died so young. Yeah. But he didn't start with the Celtics. He won a championship with Phoenix.
Yeah.
Right? Or Seattle? Wait.
Seattle.
He went to Seattle. Then he went to.
And then Phoenix. He went to Phoenix. Remember, he was a bad actor. No one liked him.
Well, I think that was.
These kids are young. A lot of them are coming in at 19, 20 years old. In 2 or 3 years can be a world of difference in guys.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I mean, the guy was a model citizen. He's DJ. He was one of the most eloquent, classy athletes we've ever had in this town. I mean, and he truly is loved to this day by so many people.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no question in my mind, because he was being an assistant coach. Dennis Johnson would have been the head coach of the Celtics at some point.
Oh, I don't know about that, but
he would have been. I think so. Just agree with me, Joe. Damn it.
Okay. Well, sometimes you need to disagree with guys.
But, come on, don't. We're talking. I gave you love with Paul Silas.
Well, okay. But one guy I want to say congratulations to this week is Kemba getting a job. It's a bench job.
Oh my God!
How much you gonna play? It's only when Lucas sits down you get to get in there, and you're poor, and you're really poor. But he was a nice guy, and he continues to be a nice guy.
Of course,
and a big support.
Guys made like $50-60 million of free cash. You can't imagine the smile that would be on my face. All the bitterness and the anger would be gone.
Still came back for all the big Celtics games just to cheer on his friends.
No, he's a good guy. Yeah, I know. I'm tired of the Kemba's a good guy stuff. Okay, I get it. He's a good guy and stuff.
Oh yeah, he stunk. I was the first one in Boston that started campaigning for him to get the hell out.
Yeah, the guy couldn't play any defense. He's small. The moment he had that knee injury, the moment he lost even a teeny bit of a step, he was done.
Yeah, he could do that fake because he could never finish off the drive with the big boys that nowadays.
And then he
The
missed that
teams
one.
have gotten so big now. There's teams out there that are really big. Like the Celtics have a lot of trouble with them. The Cavaliers, and
Remember in the bubble, he
Bucks.
missed that key shot that could have won that game.
Yeah.
Right? Against the Heat. You know that? And then
oh boy, and that's who they played tonight. And Jimmy Butler's not playing, and Victor Oladipo's not playing.
oh wow. Yeah, it seems like everybody's out.
Well, they still got some players. That Bam has been scoring like 30 points a night, and Harrow is, Harrow.
It's so weird because these guys seem to be getting hurt more than they used to.
Yeah, I don't know if Butler and Oladipo are just out for tonight. Maybe they're back in Friday night. But this is an odd back-to-back here. Both that here in the Garden.
You're right. When the Celtics played Monday, and they played Sunday, Monday, and now Wednesday.
And tonight, Wednesday, and Friday, both against Miami.
Oh, it is.
They're both here, and they're both
right?
here. Yeah, I'd never seen that kind of back-to-back. Usually, it's a home and away.
That makes complete sense. They should be doing that all the time.
Yeah, while they're here, that way the Heat can relax and stay in the hotel for 4 days.
But also, then they cut the travel for the players.
Yeah,
I'm all for that.
Save themselves a little money and save a little wear and tear on their players and their coaching staff to boot.
But also, to be honest with you, maybe possibly have some
animosity.
Yeah, a little, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, but you don't have to have a short memory. It was just 2 days ago. Yeah. Then you're smacking. I like them when they smack each other around a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you need a villain. It's good to have a villain.
Basketball fights in the history have been much better than baseball fights.
Oh yeah, you can get hurt. On the whole, basketball players are a lot bigger than baseball players, right off for starters.
And a lot stronger too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has just been a nice wild ride for the quarter season. Let's just keep it up. I think it's one word that it's in our way for championship. It's health.
Oh yeah, and there's you saw the Bucks last year when Middleton went down. Otherwise, they're the champions, probably, right?
They have the talent. Well, I don't know if they beat Golden State, but they definitely go into the finals. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. We've seen the Bucks, and it's the same for us. It might have been a different series against Golden State if, say, Rob was healthy, but you never can count on him. I'm not going to count on him this year either.
No. Look, I think Missoula seems to have a good sense of things. So I try. And Missoula, you trust already or no?
I don't know. I want to see how he handles the return of Rob or the potential return of Gallinari and the injuries that happen to the crew right now. I do like he doesn't coach scared. He may coach scared. He may would keep the starters in for 45 of the 48 minutes and right down to the end, even if they're winning by 20. Then he finally in the last minute throw the bench in there. But
I can tell you, and you got to read into these comments that the Boston Celtics roster misses Ime this much. 0.
I don't know. Maybe it remains to be seen. I'm willing to give Missoula a lot of credit. I'll tell you, but I want to see how he coaches in playoffs with the playoff pressure and how that it evolves, how the roster evolves come that time of year. Yeah. Is he still going 12 deep every game?
No, obviously you tighten it up. And
you tighten it up. And how does he tighten up? And where does he tighten it up?
And does Brad acquire anyone? He's got to.
Not necessarily. If there are no injuries, I don't see the need. Do you?
He's gonna.
Well, who do you got to get? What do you think they need to get? Who do they pick up? What are you looking for?
Because with Cornette playing a role, I don't think you're going to get a big guy to.
Especially if Rob comes back healthy.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get, and just the way their offense is run, I think you probably just get another wing and maybe a little instant offense guy, a little bigger than, that if you need a push in a second or third quarter during a playoff game, the offense is stagnant. Maybe you put in a guy like that.
I think you only pick someone up if there's an injury to the
He's
current
going to do
roster.
something.
You can't just do something for the sake of doing something.
No, you can, Joe. You can. But you can do it because there's a time limit, and then you can't acquire any more. So
Right.
you have to say, well, there's a chance of good
Well-
injuries. Let's stockpile another guy on the bench, and if someone during the course of the end of the regular season playoffs get hurt, we have a guy. So, and
It would be a wing. If it's anything, they
I think it
seem
would be a wing
stocked
now.
at guards between Smart, Brogdon,
I want Buddy
White,
Hield.
Pritchard. They've got the point guard down pat. Brown at shooting guard. I'd like another tall wing.
I want Buddy Hield.
Gallinari was that guy.
Yeah, look, you can't be enough. The depth helps during the playoffs. It does.
Just to recover from an injury.
Yeah. It's very exciting. This has been great. All right, now we have to go to the train wreck. That is the Boston Red Sox.
Well, you must be beside yourself when all the reports this week were when Abreu signed with Houston, that he was Heim's #1 target for the offseason.
I like Abreu though.
I love Abreu. I would love him on the team.
Yeah.
He could be a DH too.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of you, and you love your Cassis some, and they got that stiff Hosmer. They got to do something with him.
No, I would have
taken up.
Okay, Abreu would have been a DH. Maybe because he's a righty and Case is a lefty, they might have sat Cases down against some tough lefties and put Abreu at first base. Hosmer's gone. Hosmer is a nice piece. You can trade a guy who's a legitimate first baseman, veteran, who all you have to do is pay the minimum. He's got great value.
He's got to have. He's got to be very attractive to, the Athletics and the Orioles and the Royals of the world and the
back
Pittsburgh
to the Royals
Pirates.
again. I think you can get a middle reliever, for him, which is what you want.
Yeah.
You get a nice middle reliever. It's fine, Eric. Thank you for showing up.
Some with a little more quality than Ryan Brazier, please.
Just so you know, I saw Sam Kennedy today when I was, I walked to Fenway every day. He was holding his blazer, walking into the offices. I said, "Hey, Sam," I didn't want to bother him, any more discussion, but it was good to see Sam Kennedy. He's working hard in the off season. Of course, if they don't sign Xander Bogaerts, people are going to want to burn down Fenway Park.
Geez, Gammon's tried to stir the pot today, saying that Xander had shut off communications with the Sox. Scott Boras got right on the horn and started telling everyone that's not true.
Peter Gammon's fall from grace. Of course, we love Peter Gammons. He's a legend, but he
Brookline's own, by the way.
Yeah, but I don't know. Why don't you just Peter go to everybody? Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Instead of he's been doing that a few times over the last couple of years. He just sends up some nonsensical tweet to get a little publicity. He does that a lot.
No, he might have been talking to Xander himself, and Xander might have been discouraged, and he just took the wrong inference from them.
Well, first of all, it doesn't even matter. I told you there's 0% chance that the Red Sox sign him.
It doesn't look good.
Why are we even talking about whether the Red Sox would sign him? They should have already signed him a long time ago. What are they doing? I mean, they trying to save 10 cents?
Well, no, I don't think so. I think Boris is you playing one team against the other. They probably made a decent final offer. It's just that then he's going to go to Philly and say, "What do you say? The Red Sox do this," and then he's going to go to San Diego and say, "Well, the Phillies are offering this, and the Red Sox are offering this. Can you beat that?" I think it's Scott Boras that's.
Oh, I agree with you. That's a great point, Joe. I heard a rumor today, the Diamondbacks, as if Xander Bogaerts would go to play from the Boston Red Sox to go play in
That sounds like
Arizona.
Scott Boras. He always has a mystery team. Have you noticed that in any of his negotiations? Well, we have this one other team, and a lot of teams have called the Red Sox in particular have called him on it a number of times.
There's zero.
Remember with
there is zero
Veritek,
chance.
they called him. Remember they called Boris on that, and he had to come down from like 15 million to 3.
Yeah, there's less than zero chance that he signs with the Diamondbacks. Come on, that's a joke.
Yeah.
Why would he do that?
But I think this is less to do with the Red Sox not making a good offer and more with Scott Boras wanting to lengthen the proceedings to see if he can get more.
I think
Get another year, get a few more
I
bucks.
think that's what it is. I think it's more another year. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he wants. He wants
Given
like-
baseball contracts being guaranteed, you know.
Just sign freaking Xander. That's just ridiculous. This is, the Red Sox. I mean, the Red Sox used to be so cognizant of PR and how they were perceived. It's not that way anymore.
Well, you see John Henry get out of Liverpool because the salaries got too high. They don't have that 7-year where you control the player in soccer. That's why all the Americans are getting out of it. It's not because they can't keep up
Well, they
with the
can
Saudis.
compete against the Saudis, and the Saudis have
Yeah, they can compete with the Saudis just fine. Thanks very much. They're much bigger than the Saudis. They got more money than the Saudis, and it's just that you have no control over those players from day one. They can command, and they get 60, 70, 80 million dollars a year.
Oh yeah, those Messis and
Ronaldo's.
they make huge money, and those guys have unbelievable amount of followers too, like 100+ million. These guys they truly are the most popular athletes in the world.
Oh yeah, if they say if you get the product endorsement from them, you're a billionaire overnight just getting there.
Yeah, they're
endorse your product.
The money that those guys make. Have you been watching any of the World Cup?
Off and on. My brother's been very involved. He's been like a soccer referee for 45 years.
So he loves
coaching it. So he's a lifer in soccer.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've been watching with Maxie, and of course Maxie has money on the game, so there's always that side thing that we have to deal with.
Take the under. Tell him the under.
He's always parlaying something or another. All right, we got to finish with the Bruins, and they're just blowing their load too early, Joe.
Well, maybe so, but I kind of like and everyone's happy and everyone gets along when you're winning. But nice. Timmy must be beside himself, Hall going down to the third line. But he's taking it like a pro. He says, well, I don't think it's a demotion. I think it's great playing with Charlie Coyle as my center. Because Krejci, of course, wants to have 3 checks on the line. So Zaka's got to be with him and Pasternak. So you have an all-check line.
I think Timmy called it. And, of course, we always turn to Timmy for the hockey insight. It really is Sweeney. Look, they need to win a cup to save Neely and Sweeney's job. Bottom line. And
I don't know. The Jacobs aren't like that. Harry Sinden had that job for 30 years,
Well, look, they didn't hire that law firm to deal with that Miller kid controversy if they weren't going to have somebody get fired over that. Yeah. And you have them getting a scout. I don't know. I think either Neely or Sweeney is going to have to go because Jacobs doesn't like to spend money on law firms. I can tell you that. So one of them is going to go because he figures he saves money on their contracts. He'll have cause.
Yeah.
Fire him. That's why they got the lawyers involved. Sweeney's going to go all out. And so it's about getting another Hampus, isn't it?
Well, they're pretty they just crawled under the salary cap. That's a hard cap in the NHL.
Yeah.
And they just crawled under it this week by, a few roster moves, sending guys down to Providence and so forth. they really don't have any wiggle room because that long-term IR is up on like Forbert now, so that they had to get rid of people. And I think that they'll still trade. I bet you they'll trade like a defenseman or two, like Riley, you
Yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah, they'll try to get
at the deadline for draft picks, for future considerations. They'll probably be sellers rather than buyers, because I don't think they can buy anything right now.
Yeah, they're gonna have to manage that. But again, remember, if you're only paying from the deadline to the end of the season, you don't.
Yeah, but
it's
they
not
don't.
that.
They were sweating out $100,000.
No, I know they were. Yeah, they had to. Yeah, they're gonna have to cut some veterans. You know, but they need to go try to get somebody.
Yeah, but a lot of times the rules be, you can cut the veteran, but you don't get the salary cap relief because you're still paying them.
Yeah. Well, no, they sent him to Providence, I thought, and that's what takes him off the books, right?
Not necessarily. It all depends on how many years you got in, things like that. There's a lot of things that in the collective bargaining agreement, that gives you different things. Sometimes you get everything but 100,000 per, 10% only gets applied to you. And sometimes the exact remainder, let's say it was a $10 million contract halfway through the season, you're still liable for $5 million. Other guys, depending on your terms of service, it might only be 1 million.
Hey, Joe, I forgot. I never mentioned my prediction. For the Patriots.
You said the Patriots were going to win.
I didn't say the score.
Okay, go ahead.
27-26.
Okay, you figure it's a close one, and they sneak it out, same as me.
I want some fun. We haven't really. When's the last time we had a fun, close, like field goal at the end or something crazy? We haven't had that this season, right?
Not really, no.
I like those.
And I was just on some site, and it brought back memories of, remember the Bledsoe beating Buffalo, driving down the field with a minute and a half to go, and Buffalo was so mad about the referees, they walked off the field after the Patriots scored. And so Vinatieri walked in for the 2-pointer with no one on the field.
Right, the Patriots. Right. Yeah, no, I want a fun game tomorrow. I thought Minnesota game.
I want that kind of finish. Yeah,
I want a fun win game too, of course. All right, that was our show tonight, Joe. Always fun just to do the show with you every once in a while. Just
went quickly too, huh?
Well, Joe, yeah, sure did. Want to thank Adam behind the scenes. He always does a great job. Please check us out on Spotify. Sign up, and you'll hear us every week on a podcast. It's very exciting stuff. And again, tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a big Patriots victory. My name is Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.
And more so.